think there were not many people who understood just how broad his interests were and how supportive he was of an astonishingly wide range of organisations.
Gasps echoed behind palace walls as Princess Anne, the ever-loyal, royal and no-nonsense truth-teller, boldly unmasked Queen Camilla's covert scheme during a high-stakes royal summit. What was meant to be a quiet crisis meeting turned explosive when Anne stood up, pointed out the deception, and left senior royals in stunned silence. Tensions boiled over as Camilla's carefully hidden agenda came crashing down. "Bravo, Princess Anne!" insiders whispered as her courage shook the firm to its core. But what exactly did she expose? And how deep does this royal betrayal really go? The royal family's sudden summons. Before dawn had even broken and the city's streets were still wrapped in quiet darkness, Buckingham Palace was already engulfed in chaos. A sudden, urgent message had been sent out, an order from the king himself that could not be ignored or delayed. The senior members of the royal family were summoned to an emergency meeting, one shrouded in secrecy and heavy with unspoken consequences. There was no room for discussion or refusal. The king's command was absolute, and the weight of it pressed down on everyone involved. As the first hints of morning light crept over London, a fleet of sleek black cars slipped silently through the grand palace gates. Inside each vehicle sat some of the most important figures in the royal family: Prince William, Princess Catherine, Prince Harry, and Queen Camilla. Yet despite their usual composed appearances, each carried a visible tension. Faces were drawn tight with worry, eyes flickered with unease, and unspoken fears lingered in the air like a thick fog. It was clear that something far more serious than a routine gathering was about to unfold within those palace walls. Behind Buckingham Palace's regal and historic exterior, a storm was brewing. A storm so powerful that it threatened to shake the very core of the British monarchy. The centuries-old institution, known for its tradition and stability, suddenly found itself on the edge of upheaval. This was not just any crisis. It was a challenge that could rewrite the future of the royal family, change the balance of power, and leave lasting scars on the monarchy's reputation. Inside the palace, the atmosphere was charged with a mixture of dread and suspicion. The royal family members who arrived knew that what awaited them would not be simple or comfortable. Trust was fragile, and alliances that once seemed unbreakable were now tested by hidden motives and whispered betrayals. Each step toward the meeting room was heavy with the weight of what might be revealed, secrets long buried, rivalries reignited, and plans that could reshape the destiny of the crown. No one outside the palace could yet grasp the magnitude of what was about to happen. The world remained unaware of the silent battle unfolding behind the palace gates, where tradition clashed with ambition, loyalty collided with betrayal, and the future of the monarchy hung in a delicate balance. For those inside, every moment counted as the storm gathered strength, ready to break and change everything forever. This urgent summons isn't just any meeting. What sudden event brought the royals together? A health scare, shocking news, or a hidden crisis threatening the monarchy's future? Let's dive in and uncover the truth behind this extraordinary gathering. Whispers in the shadow. Inside Buckingham Palace's grand halls, senior royals gathered in heavy silence, their faces serious and minds filled with unease. Each held private worries, yet all sensed a looming crisis. Outside, palace staff moved nervously, exchanging worried looks and whispered fears. The familiar calm of years of service was gone, replaced by an unusual tension, a silent alarm that something serious, even threatening, was quietly unfolding within the palace walls, casting a shadow over the royal family's world. Outside the towering gates of Buckingham Palace, a growing crowd of reporters and photographers waited anxiously. They had noticed the unusual flurry of activity early in the morning. Cameras were set up, microphones ready, and journalists whispered excitedly, sensing something big was unfolding. The air buzzed with nervous energy as news crews prepared to capture every moment. Yet, no official statement had been released, leaving the media grasping for clues. With only silence and mystery from inside, speculation ran wild. Everyone wondered what secret event was shaking the very heart of the royal family. Inside Buckingham Palace, the atmosphere was unlike anything the staff had ever seen. Many of the servants and aides had served the royal family for decades, witnessing moments of joy and sorrow, triumphs and scandals. Yet even with all their experience, they had never felt such a heavy cloud of fear hanging over the household. The palace itself seemed to breathe with them, holding its breath in anticipation, as if the ancient stones were silently bearing witness to the tension. It was as though the very foundation of the monarchy was trembling beneath their feet, waiting for the inevitable moment when everything would shatter. The whispers among the staff spoke of betrayal and conspiracy, words that were normally too dangerous to mention aloud within these walls. Some speculated about secret power struggles, hidden alliances, and dark plans hatched behind closed doors. There was an unspoken dread that the royal family's carefully maintained image was on the brink of collapse, and no one knew who or what would be the cause. The palace corridors, usually filled with the soft echo of footsteps and polite conversation, now carried a thick silence interrupted only by the occasional hurried whisper or nervous clearing of a throat. As the royals remained assembled, each aware of the weight of history pressing down on them, the tension grew even more suffocating. The moment felt like the calm before an immense storm, the kind of storm that could change everything and leave no part of the family untouched. Outside, the world waited with bated breath, oblivious to the secrets and betrayals unfolding just beyond the palace gates. Inside, the royal family faced an uncertain future, caught in the silent grip of a crisis that threatened to tear them apart from within. As the silence grew and secrets spread, it was clear something big was happening. Who called the royals together, and why? Let's find out how Princess Anne's quiet arrival brought secrets that could change the future of the monarchy. The calm before the storm. The atmosphere inside the grand room was heavy, almost suffocating, charged with a tension so thick it felt like the very air was holding its breath. Everyone waited quietly, nerves taut, when the door finally opened to reveal Princess Anne. She entered last, her steps measured and purposeful, the sharp click of her heels echoing through the vast space like a drumbeat signaling something momentous. In her hands, she carried a sealed folder, its weight invisible but unmistakable, a bundle of secrets that seemed to press down on the room itself. No one dared to ask what was inside that mysterious folder, yet without a single word, all eyes instinctively turned toward her, drawn by an unspoken understanding that whatever she held was far more than mere papers. It was a symbol, a key to truths long buried beneath polished surfaces and royal decorum. The silence stretched taut as Princess Anne crossed the room, her gaze steady and unwavering, commanding attention without effort. Then, in a fleeting, icy glance, her eyes met those of King Charles. It was a look heavy with meaning, sharp, controlled, yet carrying the weight of a storm about to break. In that briefest of moments, the mood in the room shifted palpably. The fragile calm that had cloaked the gathering dissolved, replaced by a current of unease and anticipation. It was clear to all present, Princess Anne was not just there to attend. She was there to deliver something powerful, something that would unravel the carefully woven facade of the monarchy. Her presence alone was a warning. She was the herald of truths so profound, so shattering, that they threatened to shake the very foundation of the royal family, the kind of revelations that could not be brushed aside or silenced by polite whispers. The room seemed to shrink under the gravity of the moment as Anne approached the table, the folder still tightly clutched in her grasp, a silent promise that what was about to be revealed would change everything. This was no ordinary meeting. It was a reckoning, the kind of confrontation where loyalty, power, and long-held secrets would collide with brutal honesty. And Princess Anne, known for her steady resolve and unflinching strength, was about to pierce the veil of silence that had cloaked the palace for far too long. As she placed the folder down with deliberate care, the weight of what lay inside seemed to fill the room, waiting to be unleashed, ready to expose truths that some had hoped would remain hidden forever. The eyes of every royal in that room held a mix of fear, defiance, and a dawning realization that nothing would ever be the same again. While Anne stayed silent, her presence spoke loudly. What she carried wasn't just paper, it was a sharp truth, ready to cut through royal secrets. What is Princess Anne up to? Let's dive into her fearless stand, exposing Camilla's secret plan to change the monarchy forever. Camilla's secret plot exposed. The heavy silence that hung over the grand room was suddenly shattered by Princess Anne's clear, unwavering voice. Her words sliced through the tension like a sharp knife, breaking the fragile calm that had kept everyone on edge. With fierce determination, she laid bare a shocking accusation that stunned everyone present. Anne charged Camilla with masterminding a secret and ruthless campaign aimed at undermining Prince William and Princess Catherine, robbing them of the power and respect they rightly deserved within the royal family. This was no mere family disagreement or petty jealousy. Anne revealed a carefully hidden, calculated scheme that involved secret meetings held behind closed doors, meetings so secret that even the king himself was kept in the dark. These covert gatherings were not innocent discussions, but strategic plans fueled by ambition and betrayal. Anne spoke of bribery, of palace aides being quietly bought off or pressured to support Camilla's plan, their loyalty swayed by money and promises. The atmosphere in the room grew colder as the truth unfolded, the weight of the conspiracy sinking in with every word. What made the revelation even more chilling were the letters and documents Anne placed on the polished table before them. These weren't just pieces of paper, they were the key to exposing a dark and dangerous plot. The letters detailed Camilla's grand design, to elevate her own grandchildren above the traditional rightful heirs to the throne. It was a ruthless attempt to rewrite centuries of royal tradition and the natural line of succession that had always defined the monarchy's future. Anne explained how Camilla's plan was not just about power, but about control. Control over the family, the crown, and the legacy that came with it. This conspiracy threatened to reshape the monarchy itself, bending it to suit one person's ambitions, rather than honoring the principles that had long held the royal family together. It was a betrayal so deep that it cut through the very heart of the institution, risking unraveling all that the family had built over generations. As Anne's words echoed through the room, the faces of those gathered changed. Shock, disbelief, and anger flickered in their eyes. The trust that once bound them together was now fractured, shattered by the revelation of this cold, calculated plot. For many, it was a heartbreaking moment, an ugly truth laid bare that could no longer be ignored or hidden behind palace walls. Yet, through it all, Princess Anne remained steady, her voice strong, her resolve unbreakable. She was not simply exposing a betrayal, she was fighting to protect the future of the monarchy, standing firm against the tide of deceit and ambition that threatened to destroy everything she and her family had worked to preserve. In that room, with the weight of history pressing down, Anne made it clear the royal family's future would not be rewritten by secret schemes and hidden agendas. The truth was out, and there was no going back. But what gave Anne the strength to speak so boldly? Let's uncover how Princess Anne became King Charles's strongest support in the monarchy's darkest moment. The crown's quiet power. For decades, Princess Anne has earned deep admiration for her no-nonsense attitude, sharp intellect, and tireless dedication to duty. In a royal family often caught in the glare of public drama, Anne has quietly and consistently carved out a role that is both powerful and humble. She is known for being both a leader and a supporter, someone who steps up when needed, yet doesn't seek the spotlight for glory. Though she was never in line to become queen, Anne has taken on the weight of royal responsibility with unmatched commitment. Her entire life has been marked by a steady, silent strength, one that became even more apparent after the heartbreaking loss of Queen Elizabeth II. The Queen's death was not just a sorrowful moment for the nation. It was a deep, personal loss for the entire royal family. While the country mourned the passing of a monarch, Anne and her family had to navigate a tidal wave of emotions while also adapting to a rapidly shifting royal landscape. As expected, Charles stepped into his long-awaited role as king, a destiny he had prepared for since birth. But for Anne, things were different. There was no crown waiting for her, no grand ceremony to mark her transition. Yet in the days, weeks, and months that followed their mother's death, Princess Anne rose steadily into a role that, while unofficial, has become absolutely essential to the monarchy's stability. Princess Anne may not have the grand titles or constant headlines that others do, but her importance within the royal family is undeniable. Over the years, she has quietly become a rock-solid pillar of support, especially for King Charles. Her unwavering loyalty, steady calm, and deep insight into the challenges and pressures he faces have earned her a place as one of the most trusted and reliable members of his closest circle. Anne's steady presence is a calming force in the turbulent world of royalty, proving that true strength often lies in quiet dedication rather than public glory. Former BBC royal correspondent Wesley Kerr summed it up perfectly when he told Tatler that Anne could be counted on for complete discretion and unconditional love. According to him, she holds a rare understanding, not just of Charles the monarch, but of Charles the man, shaped by a lifetime of complex family history, duty, and pressure. She isn't just a supportive sister, she is someone who truly wants him to succeed and thrive, not just as king, but as a person. Now, more than ever, King Charles will lean on that quiet strength as he faces what could be one of the most challenging chapters of his reign. It is Anne who remains a steady presence by his side. She may not wear a crown, but make no mistake, Princess Anne is royalty in every way that matters. As a steadfast pillar of the House of Windsor, her loyalty and strength are more crucial than ever. Now let's uncover how she exposed secret letters, revealing royal betrayal and haunting family truths. Diana's hidden letters. As the stunned silence hung heavy in the room, Princess Anne was far from finished. With quiet determination, she reached into the sealed folder and pulled out a collection of fragile, yellowed letters. Letters handwritten by none other than Princess Diana herself. The revelation struck the family like a thunderclap. These were no ordinary documents. They were deeply personal notes that Diana had hidden away for years, secreted out of sight, locked away, in a place no one had ever dared to search. It was Camilla who had kept these precious papers hidden, shielding them from the world, and from those who deserved to see them most. As Anne unfolded the delicate pages, a hush swept over the gathering. The words on those pages carried the raw, trembling voice of a woman haunted by fears she had kept buried deep inside. Diana's handwriting revealed the pain and anxiety she felt as she faced a growing threat, one not from outside the palace walls, but from within. These letters were a heartbreaking warning. Camilla's ambitions were far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. Diana feared they would harm her beloved sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, and she spoke openly about a betrayal simmering quietly in the heart of the royal family. The room was gripped by a powerful mix of shock, sorrow, and disbelief as the past and present collided. The intimate fears Diana had confided in her own handwriting were now laid bare, shining a harsh light on a tragedy that had silently unfolded for years behind the palace's grand doors. The struggle Diana endured, the loneliness, the distrust, and the secret battles, was suddenly visible to all, painted vividly by the trembling ink of her pen. Tears gently filled Catherine's eyes as she read Diana's words, each sentence carrying the weight of heartbreak and foresight. The pain was undeniable. Diana had seen what others refused to acknowledge. William, always composed, could only manage a soft, shaken whisper. She knew. She saw everything. His voice trembled with a mixture of grief and realization. Even Harry, who rarely let emotions surface, stood silently, his face revealing a deep inner conflict, part sorrow, part anger at truths buried too long. In that moment, the brothers weren't royals, but sons, confronting their mother's pain, her warnings, and the hidden truths that finally surfaced. Even Camilla, long known for keeping her cool, couldn't hide her shock. Diana's heartfelt letters hit deep, peeling back layers of control and confidence. They exposed hidden truths and raw emotion, revealing cracks in Camilla's carefully crafted image, and a side of the story few had ever truly understood. In this moment of revelation, the royal family was forced to confront a painful truth long buried, a battle for power and protection fought in secret, leaving scars that ran deep. Princess Anne's reveal of Diana's secret letters shook the royal foundation. It exposed deep betrayals, shattered illusions, and forced a reckoning. Now let's uncover how her fearless stand brought down Camilla and changed the monarchy's future forever. The Final Ultimatum. Princess Anne's relentless determination reached its breaking point, leading her to issue a powerful, unyielding ultimatum. Camilla had to step away quietly or face the harsh glare of public exposure. The evidence Anne laid bare was overwhelming. Secret trust funds hidden behind layers of deception, bribery exchanged in whispered deals, and carefully manipulated alliances crafted to shift power within the royal family. There was no room left for denial or negotiation. Camilla, overwhelmed by the weight of the accusations, broke down in tears. Her confession was not that of a cold-hearted villain, but of a woman who believed she was acting out of desperation, a self-proclaimed protector of the monarchy. She insisted that every secret meeting, every shadowy payment, every strategic move had been made to preserve the crown, to shield it from unseen threats she feared might destroy it from within. But Anne, known for her steadfast resolve and fierce loyalty to the true essence of the royal family, would not be swayed. Her sense of justice and duty was ironclad, and she made it clear that the monarchy's future could not be compromised. Anne's voice carried the weight of years spent guarding tradition and truth, and in that moment, she became the force that would not allow betrayal to fester any longer. As the family sat fractured and stunned, the atmosphere shifted. The warmth of loyalty turned cold with doubt. Faces once familiar and trusted now felt distant and strained. The silence that followed was heavy, filled with the echoes of broken trust and the uncertain paths ahead. The monarchy, long seen as a symbol of stability and endurance, found itself standing on fragile ground, teetering between old loyalties and new realities. This moment marked the start of a new and uncertain chapter. It was a chapter shaped by the harsh truths Anne had revealed, by the betrayals that had long been hidden in shadow, and by the fierce determination of a princess who refused to back down. Princess Anne had stepped forward not just as a guardian of her family's honor, but as a warrior willing to fight for the soul of the monarchy itself. The palace corridors, once filled with quiet tradition, now echoed with the tensions of a family divided. The future of the royal house was no longer guaranteed by birthright alone, but by the courage of those willing to confront uncomfortable truths head-on. And in this turbulent time, it was Anne who stood unshaken, a symbol of resilience and unbreakable will. As the storm of revelations finally quieted, one truth stood tall: the royal family had been forever changed. Trust was shaken, loyalties tested, and the very foundation of the monarchy trembled. Yet amid the wreckage stood Princess Anne, calm, resilient, and unshaken. Her quiet courage offered a rare light in the darkness, a reminder that not all was lost. Through her strength and unbreakable sense of duty, there was now a path forward, a path where healing was possible, where wounds could mend, and where the monarchy, though scarred, might rise again, stronger, wiser, and more united than ever before. So what do you think about Princess Anne's revelation of Camilla's covert scheme?